Hello, my name is Ed Gwazdaukas, and I am the former principal at Park Street Intermediate School. And I'd like to tell you some of the differences that invitational education made at my school. In fact, as principals, we're always into data, and we like to think that things work, but I just got some research done in my school recently that indicated how effective it was in making a difference at our school. We got started in invitational education because I valued a positive environment at our school. I wanted a good learning place as well as a good working place for our staff and our parents. But we found that the act of examining what we were doing using invitational practices was in and of itself very beneficial to what we were doing. We found that having the IE framework to look at what we were doing helped improve in so many areas and gave us specific criteria to measure ourselves against to see where we could be even more inviting and more effective with our students. Well, I mentioned some of the research earlier, and what the research, the study that was done in our school showed was that we were already inviting. We were doing many practices, and being able to measure what we were doing not only impacted our environment but also impacted our learning. Our test scores were actually improved by having such an invitational and intentionally inviting environment. It benefited our staff, benefited our families, and most important, it benefited our students. And it was certainly gratifying to find that what we actually believed bore itself out in the results of this study. So you know as principals, or you know as folks involved in education, that there's arguments against invitational education. For example, it's one more thing. It's another program we have to do. Well, we found out that, when we got involved with invitational education, it wasn't extra time. It actually provided time for us because we created such an environment that we were efficient, that we were effective, and that we were positive, so we didn't have to worry about so many of the things that take our time. I've heard people say, well, this invitational education is just common sense. We're nice people. We take care of things because we are good people. Well, having the IE framework to look at and measure ourselves against gave us that anchor to look at as we went through some difficult times. We could always come back and say, you know what? This is something that we hold as true values. We hold ourselves to these high standards. We have to make sure we maintain those in the decisions we make. And the other thing I would say is we talked about time. This is not one more thing that does take more time. It actually saves time because we've already set criteria that lets us know how we're going to operate in the future. That's respectfully, that's optimistically, that's trusting other folks, and that's intentionally being inviting with other folks. So I'm very glad to share my thoughts on you with invitational education. Certainly it's much more complex than that, but these are just some thoughts that may help you as you get started in your invitational journey.